Hi, welcome to another installment of 30 Seconds Behind the Scenes. Today, we're talking about wigs. When this channel first began, believe me, I did not know the first thing about wigs, or did I have any intention of ever learning anything about wigs. But very early on, I purchased the very first wig that I ever bought, and it was for that first month of themed, backdropped, costumed music, which was December of 2020. And the reason I bought it was I had this idea for a New Year's Eve video that was all black and white. And the idea was that it was a couple, and they were both kind of loaded. She in particular was very loaded. And so I went to Party City and I bought a $9 white wig. And this is that wig. And this is that cheap Party City wig. And I think the worst part about this wig is that when I used it, I took it right out of the bag and plopped it right on my head and made the recording. And I believe I hung it off a spigot on the wall. I didn't even have a proper way to store it. And it looked terrible. And it was the only wig I had for a very long time. And I don't remember why the second wig got purchased, but that leads to another, leads to another, leads to another. And now there are 18 of them in total. And along the way, here are some things I've learned about wigs. Number one, they need to be cared for properly, and they need to be stored properly. I now have several brushes that I use to keep them, at least try to keep them looking good. They're all cheap. They're all synthetic. Not a one of them is more than $30, and most of them are well under 20. So they have to be brushed. They have to be stored properly. I now am the proud owner of close to 3 dozen styrofoam wig forms. The wig forms also require pins so that the wigs will actually stay on the forms. So then I learned about buying wig pins and storing wigs on wig forms and how to properly comb out wigs. And I'm even the proud owner of a giant can of Aquanet, which is something a bald man rarely needs. I had to buy this for a Mozart wig that arrived and almost immediately started falling apart. And that was when I thought, oh, sometimes you got to set these wigs. And here's that wig. I specifically bought this wig for one of my opera-themed months where I was doing a piece from The Marriage of Figaro. And this one in particular, I mean, you can see it's got a lot going on. And even just now when I went to put this wig on, there was a giant, big flyaway that was just flapping in the breeze. And so out comes the Aquanet. We hold it down, and it's a quick, just like my mom in the 60s. Also along the way, I've bought things like scrunchies and other things to help me create different styles out of these wigs. And I have done research about how to actually do it better than to just sort of slap them on my head. And recently, I've even gotten into wig stacking, which is putting on a base wig, putting something underneath it, and then having another wig attached on top of that to create more height and more volume. So apparently this is getting more out of hand every day. And while most of the wigs I have are female wigs, I do own a couple of male wigs. And along with wigs, who can forget beards, mustaches, and eyebrows? I forget. I think it was a rock and roll month where I decided I needed to get some mustaches and beards and such. I do know that this mustache right here was purchased for a Freddie Mercury video. But yeah, so I started purchasing things like fake beards and fake mustaches. The beards are really super easy. You can see they're just on a strap. Goes right on lickety split. Worst thing about these is all this loose synthetic cheap hair. This is an entire bag of these with mustaches and eyebrows for something like $6. Crazily cheap. Um, yeah, but that's how those work. Here's a blonde one, which for some reason looks completely hysterical on me. Um, and you can see that just slaps right on. When they arrive, they look terrible. These have all been trimmed into something trying to approximate a better look and shape. But also, I had to purchase and learn how to use spirit gum and spirit gum remover, more importantly. Spirit gum, for those of you who don't know, is what they use in the theater to attach things like fake beards and mustaches and stuff. So, these beards are nice because they just strap on. But most of the, not most, all of the mustaches or eyebrows that you see me glue on, they get glued on first with spirit gum, which is it's a time-consuming process. You have to paint it on, you have to wait for it to dry and become completely tacky. I'm guessing it takes about 5 minutes. What I've learned to do is if I'm doing a video where I've got multiple setups and some of them have mustaches and some of them don't, as I'm changing costumes, changing out of wigs between takes, I'll go ahead and prep a mustache take in advance so that when I change and I'm ready, I'll slap that mustache on and it'll be ready to go. So as you can see, wigs, while it seems like something innocuous, buy a wig, slap it on your head, take it off, move on to the next one, it becomes quite a journey in storage and care and using them properly so that you can get a lot of use out of them. So again, thank you all for tuning in. I hope you found this interesting or entertaining or informative. And thank you again for your support. And we'll see you in another episode soon. Thanks. Take care.